I can now.
Okay.
All right, and we are live. Let me unpin you there. There's a lot of jumping around from ad pin. I'm sorry. There we go. Folks, real quick, first off, let's get a voice check if they can hear us. Like I say, it's there's a little bit of a lag. And all right.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Live. Let me unpin you there. There's a lot of jumping around from ad pin. I'm sorry. There we go. Folks, real quick, first off, let's get a voice check if they can hear us. Like I say, it's there's a little bit of a lag. And all right.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Let me unpin you there. There's a lot of jumping around from ad pin. I'm sorry. There we go. Folks, real quick, first off, let's get a voice check if they can hear us. Like I say, it's there's a little bit of a lag. And, okay, so all right.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Let me unpin you there. This is around this last. Folks, real quick, first off, let's get a voice check if they can hear. Okay. Now I turn the volume down there, so it's not giving me feedback. But I don't know if I can hear you if I do that. Go ahead and. Oh yeah, I hear because I'm listening to you on Zoom, and I've got the speaker closed. Okay, this gets a little confusing. I can hear everybody through Zoom, but it's not coming through the speaker for some reason. Anyway, it seems to work. Let me run back here and get a quick
Rob
voice.
says
Go
it's
ahead and. Oh yeah, I hear you. I'm listening to you on Zoom, and I've got the speaker closed. Okay, this gets a little confusing. I can hear everybody through Zoom, but it's not coming through the speaker for some reason. And
They're saying it was better.
anyway, it seems to work. Okay. Well, anyway, this works, and so we'll go with this. What it is when I talk to you on Zoom, it's just you and me, and the microphone picks that up. But if I go to YouTube, it's looping back and coming out the speaker in a different time. So that's why I want to be able to. Okay, doesn't matter why. It works, that's all that matters. I'll keep my eye on the comments section. Guys, Steve and Ken said they'll be here tonight. They're a little AWOL. Apparently, Steve needed to feed himself. And something about taking the family out to dinner. And Ken is probably still on his boat. And so anyway, we have Gavinn, Scale Model Apprentice. And Gavinn, welcome aboard.
Thank you for having me. I'm
my pleasure.
looking forward to it, to tell you the truth. Been
I'll tell you
a
what.
fan for a long time.
Oh, I appreciate that. Let's just, first off, Gavinn has a YouTube channel, Scale Model Apprentice. Go out, give him a sub. And I'm going to let you tell us, the one reason I want to have him is because most of us on this channel, there's Ken, are over 50. And Gavinn is a young model. You're actually the future. And so we'll put Ken in the penalty box for a second. Let's pin. And pin. There we go. Ken, can you hear me?
Hello.
Okay, good. Lucky you. Ken, this is Gavinn. Gavinn, this is Ken. Gavinn has not met Ken or Steve yet, so that'll be fun. But what we're going to do right now is let Gavinn tell us about yourself and your channel and your model building.
Yeah, so I'm from Illinois. When you say that, people automatically think Chicago, but that's wrong. I'm from the southern part of the state, 30 minutes from Kentucky state line. So, been model. I'll be 20 next year. Been model building for about 12 years, if I had to guess. Started about 2013. And my grandpa got me into it, and he just did it as something to do. He wasn't really too serious about it, but it was something we could share and do together. So that's how I got started in the hobby, and from there it's just exploded. I started the channel 2 years ago. And what started the channel was one of the other channels I watch, Model Car Videos, Matthew Inman in Georgia. bought a model kit, and it got crushed in the mail. And he was looking for a body for this car, and I had one, so I sent it to him. And I guess as a thank you, he sent me a kit back. And so originally I just set up a channel to say thank you and everything and explain the situation. And then I was like, well, this isn't bad. It's pretty fun. So, and it's just blossomed from there. I got 500 some odd subscribers, and thankful for every single one of them. And a little concerned that 500 people want to watch me yap, but to each their own.
Well, Gavin, what is your preferred subject matter? Do you have one? I notice you got aircraft, aerospace behind you, but
I build everything. Recently, I took a turn toward ships, especially World War II era steel ships, and the reason for that is mainly actually monetary. I mean, the kits are more expensive, and so is all the aftermarket. But you can work on a single kit for 2 years if you wanted to.
Yeah.
So the price, because I have to think about this because I'm in college, the price per hour goes down substantially with the ship kit. Because, you get a new Tamiya, the Phantom is $90 kit. And you can get a 350 scale battleship for about $120. So the scaler of the price per hour spent modeling decreases.
Well, one of the I did the Arizona not too long ago, the border kit, which it's a decent kit, and it had the photo etch and everything with it, and the wooden decks, and which is, you probably, if you've learned those tacky wooden decks that they sell pre-made, you get one shot to get it on right. If you don't get it on right, lifting it up, you're guaranteed splinters. But
I've got that kit.
Oh, it's a good kit. Not perfect, but good. And Ken, of course, it was a gift of Blue Trooper. Next week, provided everything goes according to Hoyle, I will be doing this from Ken's boat, and I have the trawler, which used to be the spy ship, the old Revell kit, that I'm going to build on Ken's boat. So I'm going to build a boat on a boat, because that's what we do.
I'm sorry, back up a second. You said next weekend?
Are you not available next weekend?
I'm going to be in Chicago for my niece's wedding.
Ken, you're going to pass up a chance to build a model ship on your boat with me to go to a family wedding. Really? See, these are the people I hang out with.
Somebody has to go.
Steve's here.
Good. You can abuse him now.
Well, okay. Volume, Steve, volume.
He'll fight back. Steve will fight back.
Hi, guys.
There he is. All right.
Hello.
Hi, Gavin. How are you?
Okay.
Very good. Are yourself?
Well, good, Ken, because now I know to change my plans. Well, let me pin everybody here and get us all the same size.
So this is kind of the first I've heard of it. I thought you'd go.
Ken, I told you this 3 weeks ago.
Notice.
You see, Ken, this is what happens when you miss staff meetings.
Okay. Very good. Are yourself?
Somebody's got to turn their volume down.
You could do it without Ken. Just go down and get on his boat.
I can do a combination.
Who's got their speaker on? Steve?
Not me.
I need you to turn the volume down as low as you can because it's feeding back.
Okay.
I tried using my headset, and then I realized I have to go through my microphone. If I use the headset, the speaker doesn't work. And if the speaker doesn't work, my microphone doesn't pick up anything. I've tried pumping Zoom audio into OBS. For some reason it doesn't work. Anyway, so let's get back to Gavin. In fact, Gavin, I think you had some questions for Steve about Atlantis and Aurora. So you just want to ask him directly? And Gavin, we're going to make it your job to keep us on models, okay? Because obviously the three of us are incapable of staying on task.
I think that runs in a lot of model builders I know have that problem. I think that's part of the territory.
It goes with the personality.
Because, I think it's just part of the hobby, because you're working on a project, and then you go to the hobby shop because you need paint, and you get a whole nother kit, and now you want to do that one.
And you want to tell everybody about it.
Now, that's what eBay is for.
Yeah. Well, I am, actually, I'm on the checkout screen. I'm making an order at Atlantis. I'm getting the new Fokker, which is the box art on it's really good.
By the
I
way,
like the black
Steve,
airplane.
just to give you a quick note on how sharp Gavin is, I started telling about the Pepsi issue with the Pepsi.
Yeah.
He already knew.
Yeah.
He was totally on
Well,
top.
it's all over Facebook.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Sorry, I didn't get that memo. Sorry, missed the
again, missed the staff meeting. Steve, why don't you tell them
Yeah.
the story on the Pepsi Wendy's
Well,
card?
what happened was they were supposed to come out with the white car, which was the Pepsi Challenger, with the yellow stripe down the side with the red letters, and that's been everything that's been in all the releases.
Oh yeah, I think you did tell me about that. Yeah.
And when they looked at the mold between the two kits are different because the wings are different and the parachutes are different. So they ran a test shot on the mold that they had, which was the Pepsi Challenger which was the Wendy's Challenger with the bigger wing and the different parachute configuration. And they said, okay, well, the other one's different. We'd have to switch the wing. We'd have to. I don't think they have the plug with the different wing in it that goes in the mold.
You think they're
I
going to
think
cut
they
one? Or it's going to
misplaced it.
So you don't
And I
think
think-
we're going to get the Pepsi Challenge car?
No, you'll get it, but it's going to be down the road.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's what, few grand to cut apart for a.
So they decided, okay, well, we have all this, and we can, just do it now. So let's just run with this one. So that's what they did.
Can't entirely blame them for that. I mean,
It appears to be a conversational filler.
okay, who called me a conversational filler?
No, it was AI picking up what I was saying, and it just,
AI scared me. Gavin and I did a pre-Zoom. I think I sent you guys a copy of, and then I got this email back from Zoom, and the AI had basically written like corporate notes on everything we talked about. I think,
Yeah.
and I was like, that is both wonderful
Yeah,
and terrifying at the same time.
Yeah, and I said, just sold to the Chinese for 7 cents.
We will now be getting all of our spam, from. But so, Gavin, you're working on behind you. Are you working on that the classic?
Oh, let me just jump in there for a second before
Yeah.
you get to that.
Uh-huh.
So, in concert with the Prudhomme Wendy's funny car, they'll be releasing the 1/24th scale Red Baron Tom Daniel kit that was the old monogram kit.
I wish if I'll probably pick one up, but I've got the one that TD gave me. In fact, it's I don't think you guys can
Don't
see
build that one.
No. That was the pre-made thing.
Oh no, you get the
like,
die cast.
Yeah,
you
I
get
got the
big
die cast that TD gave me. And I will probably build the other one. But they did a 112 one for a limited time. I remember seeing one. My neighbor had one when I was a kid. The big 112.
Yeah.
That is the one that I found an empty box for one, and the guy wanted $300 or something. Apparently, I guess they made that more than 1 or 2 years.
Yeah.
As I understand it, it was actually made. What they did was they made it in 112 scale, then pantographed it down to 124. But then somebody got the bright idea when it turned out to be a super hot seller. Hey, look, we've got the pattern in 112. Why don't we just make a 1-to-1 mold and sell a 112 scale one? And it's like, and there's a picture of TD posing with one of them on one of the websites. But anyway, that is the one I would like to get. The problem is if you found one, it would be $1,000 kit. If you can, I don't think you can find one.
And Monogram was kind of on a supersized kick back around that time. They were doing all the 1/9 stuff, and then they did the B-36 around that time too, as far as I remember.
Yeah,
well, that was in the Mattel days.
Yeah,
because they decided that they wanted kits that had play value, so they came out with stuff like the Mad Maverick, which was the funny car that the body went up and down and had an electric motor, and they had the Dragster, and then that was when they were in the big kit phase because, like a toy, bigger is better. Not necessarily, because you have to have a place to put it.
Yeah, I know something about that.
So Gavin, the ship you're building, this is your current project?
Constitution.
That's not a small
project.
undertaking.
No. This is the Revell 196 scale.
Constitution?
Yes. First tooled in 1963, and mine is a 1993 reissue.
Actually, it was first tooled in the 1770s, but I don't think that one counts.
That's the 1-to-1 scale. They had to pantograph it down.
I've actually been on it. I took the tour when I was in Boston, and if you haven't, you're ever in Boston, first off, it's free because it's still a commissioned Navy ship. They have it next to a Gearing class destroyer, or excuse me, not a Gearing class, but the Fletcher class. Anyway, but what I was going to get at is it is a fantastically interesting tour, and the people who work it are active duty Navy enlisted in the period uniforms, which is just too cool.
Yep. Well, of course, the government's closed right now, but she's also just closed because they're doing work on the foremast, trying to get it ready for the big Navy celebration next year and 250th anniversary of the country. Mm-hmm. So she'll be closed even if the government does open up. But yeah, if you're going to see her anytime soon, see her next year during the celebration because she'll be sharp.
As they say, ship shape and Bristol fashion.
Yep.
So, what do you think of the kit, given that it's rather 60-year-old mold?
Yeah. If you want to do this, first of all, the kit's not totally accurate, and that's fine. I'm not a super detailer by any means when it comes to stuff like that. It looks great. That's all I care about. If you want to do this 96 scale Constitution, get the oldest tooling you can. And then go on to ScaleMates and download the most recent instruction booklet and print it out, because the 1963 instructions, it's a lot of reading, and the 2012 instructions, it shows you how to do it. It's a lot more intuitive in that way.
Interesting. Mix the old and the new, because the older pressings will be when the molds are newer.
They'll be cleaner.
Yeah. I just had a thought.
Plus, the younger kids of today don't read that well, so.
I just had a thought of an easy way to rig a ship like that. Get yourself a couple of good spiders that are known for making good silk webs, and put a little food on every spot on the ship, and let the spiders just start rigging their There's another advice from your Uncle Max. Yeah, I'm full of them.
just go down to the local Halloween store and get one of those. Get one of those things that spray it on, and you just spray it on, see where it goes.
I got to be honest. I have, in fact, it's right here. I have the French frigate that's been reboxed as 3 different ships. I actually found it not that difficult to rig because you have access. As my dentist used to say, access is success, getting to a thing. And because the ships are open air, their access is relatively good. I mean, everything's out where you can get to it. I found rigging a ship much easier than rigging a biplane.
Yeah, I mean, well, I've actually been, because I made that playlist of your Big Felixstowe.
Which, by the way, the restoration on that by Fran, who's in the comments here, they'll be in the next viewer's build. He just sent me pictures. He's finished the restoration from where it was in the shelf crash. It has
lovely. I'll tack that on the playlist. But yeah,
you know why the French kit was reboxed 3 different times?
Because they kept surrendering.
No, they were embarrassed it was French, so they just kept changing the name.
Occupied by this year.
But yeah. My issue was 1993, and by then it was 30 years old. And I started at the stern, pinched it together down there at the rudder, and up here at the bow, I had a 5-inch warp.
Wow!
And this was a sealed kit,
But who knows how it was stored or what was sitting on it, or
it was climate control. I know how it was stored.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. but even by then, it was long in the tooth and it was wore out.
One other thing you have to remember, Gavin, and I imagine you're probably already aware of this, is that every decade or every year when they would run them, the styrene chemical compounds, the formulas are not always the same. And some of them last forever. Some of these kits, these old Revell S kits that are behind me that Mr. Van Osh sent to me, I've opened some of these up. They are absolutely virgin. They're wonderful. They're like brand new. Of course, it helped that he bagged them in plastic. But I've opened kits that were 20 years old, and you could just tell by the nature of the plastic. They were brittle. I had a Revell B25. In fact, it's the one I did the B25 build with. Our first group build was a B25 build. And every time I even tried to flex apart a little bit, it just snapped in half. The tail, everything. Yeah. So when I agree with you completely that the younger the mold, the crisper the model. And I also think the older it is, probably the higher quality the styrene is, because they just didn't operate under. They could use all those dangerous chemicals that we can't have today.
That, and you can actually measure this, and I've experimented with this, and I've usually found it to be pretty accurate. Now this is getting into the really nitty gritty details.
This is what we do.
If you want, buy whatever issue you want. But in years where there's an embargo, an oil embargo, or the economy turns down, usually that's the worst plastic years.
Well, same for the cars. I had a 77 Malibu. Trust me, you are not wrong. I hate to say this because I was a teenager in the 70s, so I have many fond memories, and there was some great music. But by God, you're right. A lot of crap was coming out of American factories. It's on my channel. I did a video called The 70s, the decade that changed America. It has nothing to do with models. It's strictly.
I've seen it,
And a lot of the stuff originated, but you're absolutely right. Between the Malaise era cars, the crappy kits, this is when the decline in kit models began. No, I agree completely, and I think that's a pretty sharp observation, actually.
So my general rule of thumb when I'm buying vintage kits, except for Atlantis, is first boxing and a good economic year. And usually, I've never found that rule of thumb to be false. Usually,
That's interesting.
And
that is. You see, guys, we get these young guys with sharp brains, and all their brain cells are working, and they're observant, and they know stuff, and so.
Kudakilla says you could use silly string for rigging the ships.
Yeah, just get that flat pack spider web that you put on the hedges and just throw it on there.
There you go.
I think it'd be easier just to train a spider. Here, Roscoe, go here. Okay, now spin. There, good lad. Here's your bulb of sugar. Here's a nice little delicious leech. But you do have some vintage kits back there, though. I've noticed not a lot of stuff I'm seeing is brand new. Show them the F-102, the Jaguar. That's the one everybody wants to see. Look what he's got, Steve.
I built the kit.
Is that the Aurora one?
That is the Aurora one.
Yeah,
that's my favorite box art ever.
That's on my that's on my top 20 list.
Yeah, I don't know who did that. We'll have to ask Mike.
I don't think that. I don't know. Is that might be a Linwood?
Yeah, that's a Linwood.
That's a Linwood. Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, no wingtip in the picture. Cram the box. Yeah. Of course.
Oh yeah.
Well, there are books about how Linwood did his artwork. It looks like Linwood. Yeah. And and Gavin and I were talking about this. I'll bet in those days some hotshot fighter pilot could drive his car right up on the flight line like that to show off to his buddies, because that was when the Air Force was the Air Force.
And there's the kit.
What did you think about it from an assembly point of view? Did you go together okay, or?
It was pretty intuitive, actually. This is really as far as I know, the kind of the progenitor of the 25th scale car hobby. This kit was.
Steve, what do you think about that?
It's very, very detailed. I did it. See, IPMS has this category called box stock. Just use the parts in the box, but you could.
That's usually how I build models, yeah.
You can paint it and detail it however you want. But I did this. I invented a category I call instruction stock. So, this is unpainted. This is the unpainted plastic. The engine's all chrome, just like how a kid with money for paint would have done it in '62 when it was issued.
Yeah, that's how I did the Constellation I've got up there, which comes with the colored parts. I I did my 10-year-old Max build.
Yep. And I call it instructions stock. So regardless of how accurate it is, it still turns out pretty nice.
Steve, have you
And
built
those-
that yet?
What?
Have you built the Aurora Jaguar?
Oh yeah, and I have one too.
What do you think of it as a? Because I know you're a huge
Well,
car guy.
When I was 11, it was a good kit.
Yeah.
But it's a good kit.
It's not as
It's-
hyper accurate as a modern Tamiya. but-
It's not it's not what I would consider a beginner kit.
Oh,
Oh, no.
So if you were a kid and they said, "Here, you got this as a gift," it would be a challenge
Hmm.
if you haven't built a lot of kits. It's a nice kit.
Scott, I noticed that one has a left-hand drive in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I guess they made them left-handed for the Americans.
I think I might be wrong with this, but I think it came with 2 dashboards.
Mine just came with one. Mine's the first issue though.
Some came with right and left hand option.
I thought you just turned
So
it
maybe-
over.
So I know Monogram got it, and it survived the train crash.
Oh,
Like,
really?
They might have added parts.
Rob says, are we sure that Gavin isn't a time trap?
I tell you what, man, he's sharper than anyone. He's sharper than the three of us put together. I'm like, damn, you're making us look bad, boy.
Yeah, but if you take the 3 of us together, we're about 1 step away from the ward at the nursing home down the street. Okay.
And,
I don't know about that.
but,
Yes, Ken, they have them out at sea.
but it's very refreshing. I know Trey's kids build models, and I know a few young people that do, but it's a little distressing. And I have had a lot of moms come in and try to get your kids interested. I'm a little curious, and how would you say that you ended up being interested in model building as opposed to a lot of the stuff that your generation is famous for, like living on their cell phones? Because I haven't seen you pick up your cell phone once. So
Well, truth be told, I do live on my cell phone.
Oh, okay.
Actually,
Probably charging.
but I was introduced to model building by my grandpa when I was about 8, and that was just something we could do together, And but actually, the other hobbies, if you could call them that my generation's known for, like video games. You play something in a video game. Okay, I want a model of this now.
mm-hmm.
So that fed into the plastic hobby, where you see something online, an airplane or something or a tank. Oh, I would like to build a model of that. But yeah, I mean,
See, with these video games with us, it was usually movies. We saw it in a movie and wanted to get it. built.
yeah.
Well, you also saw it in a newspaper or magazine,
That's true.
back then.
Herrick
Yeah.
says maybe Gavin can fix me my tech problems too. Trust me, we were working on that before we went live. By the way, Eric, Ken told me that he's not available next week, so I won't be doing the boat on the boat build. So consider yourself on deck if you're free next weekend for the live stream. And,
See, this Ken, he's gonna edge you out for a youth
see,
movement.
Ken, you can, no, there ain't no one can't be replaced. Just ask Colonel Sanders or Ronald McDonald. But anyway, how were you mostly done with the Constitution, or you still got a?
Assembly's done, paint's done. I finished the lower rat lines. I'm moving on to the upper rat lines, and then it'll just be rigging from there.
Okay.
Which is why I made that video. I guess it was Sunday, where I was like, all right, this is the last video till I get this done, because nobody wants to see me just stringing lines for the next month.
Nobody wants to see anybody. Oh, then on the other hand, somebody has trouble sleeping. It might be good. But it's a cure. Hey, we found the cure for insomnia. No drugs required. But
Watch Max build a Volkswagen.
oh, come on, that was too funny to be boring. I'm underneath the freaking bench, banging my head, looking for parts I dropped. So what's after the ship? What you got next on deck?
Next after the ship is the Musashi.
Oh, good Lord. Well, we'll see you next year when you're halfway through.
Yeah. And there's like one basket.
If anybody bothers you, just pull a Pee Wee Herman and go, I'm trying to do the live stream.
Hey, Ken, you got an invite.
Uh-oh, what?
Oh yeah, just up there for the weekend. Sorry guys, I'm gonna be doing wedding stuff.
I just got back from a wedding. It was great. Food, booze, ambulances, the works. The
Well, I'm
For the
going
groom or the
because I'm gonna
bride?
eat now.
extended family.
No, I mean the ambulance.
No, that's what it was for, extended family.
Oh,
So anyway, Steve, Ken, what?
I'm
You
fine.
held your hand up. I thought you wanted to talk.
Steve's over there. Anyway, I'm going dark now because I'm gonna eat, and I'm sure nobody wants to watch it.
I tell you what, Ken, just mute it and disappear, and I'll unpin you and we'll bring you back. Because I'm afraid if you unconnect, God knows what'll happen when we try to reconnect.
No, I'm not gonna disconnect. I'm just gonna turn my video off
That's fine. That's fine.
and the audio.
And I will remove the pin. So Ken's small and we're big. Yes, we run this live stream like a military operation, and I think it was called Dunkirk.
yeah, that's why we lost. But
Hey, I wasn't there. We didn't lose anything. We weren't even in the war yet. Speaking of which, have you built any armor, Gavin? Have you done any armor?
Yeah, I have. I enjoy it. I just don't build a lot of it. I don't know why that is.
Well, the road wheels can get a little tedious, but the rest of it I love.
I've got a couple 109s in there. This is what my grandpa was on when he was in the Army.
Oh,
He
the
has some interesting
self-propelled gun.
stories about that.
The big howitzer, yeah.
The 155.
Yeah, the one for we have a lot of armor builders. Panzerman Bunker and Fran's actually a retired armor colonel, and so he's got an enormous, beautiful collection of wonderful made tanks and RCs and stuff. I'm not going to build that Sherman that Mr. Van Osh gave me with the motor, because I found out that thing is very valuable, and I'm like, I can always go get another Sherman tank and motorize it. Ken is trying to retrofit a motor into a 135 scale tank. Have you ever done anything like that? Because that's as much an engineering challenge as anything else.
No. I never tried to retrofit. I built a motorized kit. It was a 10-ton half track, German one. It had a motor in it, and worked out just fine. Nothing like those old Lindbergh motors that you see online. Now you got to wrap the windings yourself.
Yep. I tried several of those as a kid. Never got one to work. And then as an adult, we're in the old house. I think it was before I really started the channel. It was pretty good. So I guess I'm going to say 10 years ago, I finally, using every tool I had, including optivisors and everything else, and taking my time, being extremely careful, I got one to run for about 5 seconds. And I was like, good enough. It worked. That's all I need. Bucket list item checked off. How they expected an 8-year-old or a 12-year-old to make one of those things work. But you did learn a lot about electric motors from it. And one of the glue troopers said he got one to work great, but his dad was an electrician, so that almost counts as cheating.
Yeah, that's like having all the jokers right there.
But I would say though that there is a sense of accomplishment if you can find a Lindbergh motorized kit, build it, and get it to work. Never mind installing it in the model, just getting it to work. There is a true sense of accomplishment in pulling that off, because it is a minor miracle.
Yeah.
And,
so, Gavin, where do you get most of your kits? Online, at the store, shows?
I have a local hobby shop about 30 minutes away, mostly train stuff, but there are some plastic kits, and I've been going there for
what's the name of
probably
it?
Chuck's Depot, Marion, Illinois.
Chuck's Depot, Marion, Illinois. Mark that one off, guys. You're passing through. There's a pit stop, a visitation.
Yeah,
Like your shirt.
Interstate. Thank you. Andy's Hobby Headquarters ordered this one. I've never been there. I'd love to go.
Yeah, Andy's a very nice guy.
Road trip.
Yeah,
he is. I got to meet him at the Nats.
I've heard his YouTube personality and his real life personality are the exact same. So.
Yeah, he's not acting. He's pretty much being Andy.
He's a great guy. Really is.
I've heard.
And he's helping the hobby out a lot.
Yeah, his new store is just amazing. I've never physically seen it, but I've seen a lot of videos about it. I mean, it's like hobby heaven.
And he's got
I
basically
remember
a museum.
I remember
Yeah.
when he started his channel, it was just, he had that little shop, and then
Yeah.
he bought the building next door and took out the wall and got bigger, and then it got even bigger, and he moved to the warehouse, and then he moved to a different warehouse. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, he's done good things for the hobby, and the hobby's repaid him back.
Yeah, and I mean, he's bringing in those Tacom kits, which are really nice.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I built their 135 scale Jeep,
Jeep's
Which is
phenomenal.
which is basically maxed at 16 scale Jeep. They
Yeah,
took the
from Tacoma.
35 scale kit and pantographed it up,
Yeah.
just like the Red Baron car.
And I have that though, the big one, the 1/16 scale I built recently. And I'll tell you what, you could build a real Jeep from using that as a guide. And I owned a 43 Willys, Willis MB. I've been told it's pronounced Willis, not Willys.
Hold on one second.
Yeah, but one of the nice parts was every part was familiar when I was building the model because I had the real Jeep. What amazed me was the level of detail. I mean, I was impressed with the 135 scale kits like Tammy and stuff, but the big one was, you could almost use the instruction sheet as a manual. It was amazing the level of detail.
I found, and I don't know if this is true for every single one. I'm 2 hours away from Scott Air Force Base, home of the Military Airlift Command, and
I'm
they
sorry,
have
that's now the Air Mobility Command.
air mobility. Yes.
AMC, it sounds
Command.
like a theater chain. What happened to the good names, Max and Mac? This has a ring to it.
Yeah, at least you can. If you're gonna have an acronym, at least make it a word.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, but they have I think it's every other year, every 3 years or something like that. They have an air show, and they have the ground vehicles display. I found that I'm a little too tall for the MB, for the Willis.
Yeah.
But I can fit just fine in the GPW, in the Ford built ones.
That's
So
interesting.
I don't know if that's true for
Supposed to
every
be the
single
same,
one.
but I don't know.
Yeah.
There are a couple of differences in them besides the F script. There's a difference in one of the framing bars and a few other things. So Ford did make a few changes. Maybe they backed the seat up half inch. Mine, I could barely. Ken used to ride in it with me. I could barely squeeze in it. But you have to remember when that Jeep was designed and manufactured in 1940. The average American male was about 5'10" and 140 pounds. That's what it was made for. The standard issue GI. They didn't have an adjustable seat or anything, and the reason you sat on the gas tank was not by accident. They had you sitting on the gas tank because they wanted to limit the points of failure, and they figure if they put the driver in one place and the gas tank in another, that creates 2 points of failure if they're hit by the enemy, by bullets or whatever, or shrapnel. One, the gas tank leaks out, the other, the driver's taken out. But if you put them together, you consolidate that down in just a 1 point, because all of them are mission critical. And I was like, I understand the military logic behind that, but thanks, guys.
That is dark.
But so was war. And the Army got their first Jeeps only a few months before the attack on Pearl Harbor.
Yeah. You look at the initial Bantam prototypes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The Bantam command car. And
the BRC-40 was, I think, the designation.
We gave a bunch of them to the Russians. They copied the design, but they also had their little what's the name of that Russian truck company? Zab, that, what I'm talking about.
It's Gas.
Gas, thank you. And which is my understanding, a pretty decent little vehicle. I watched the movie, was it T-34? I think was the name of it, and it starts off the guy in a gas truck running away from a German, like Mark III, and I was like, a lot of it's CGI, but I don't care, at least had the right vehicles. It's better than seeing a painted up Land Rover.
It was cool CGI in that. That's a pretty decent film.
I was actually impressed. I was telling my wife, I know it's popcorn, but it's way better than it has any right to be. Yeah, and the one part of that movie that I really just showed the kind of attention they were paying to detail is where they get the T-34-85 and they want the Russian crew to man it. And when they go in and there's dead bodies in there, which they never show in movies, that have to be removed. But he finds the live rounds underneath because the Germans wouldn't touch the dead bodies. I was like, that's actually plausible. That covers a big plot hole, and how would they, And I was like, they actually sat down and thought this thing through. And,
it's pretty good.
It was definitely, it was better than it had any right to be. And now countries like the Czech Republic and Poland and even China are putting out much more attentive to detail movies. And I think a lot of that stems from the kit model industry. They know everybody's building hyper accurate models of this stuff, and the people who are buying their models are exactly the people who are going to be watching their movies. So they know they've got to cover all those details.
Yeah, well, they just had the big scale model world or whatever it's called convention in Czech Republic, or anyway, it's like the biggest one in Europe, the biggest convention in Europe besides the Telford convention that's next week actually in the UK.
I was just reading what Craig said. Max AMC was chosen after cargo resupply and shipping headquarters crash was deemed too accurate. I think they need to get anything like Braun, like, big randy airplanes with men or something like that, But that's okay. The next war, everything's going to be delivered by Amazon and FedEx.
Yeah.
I remember a few years ago, someplace that was in conflict in Africa, and they got everyone to stop shooting for a couple of days because the Air Force sent in one C-130 with relief supplies, and both sides were mortified of what would happen if anybody shot at the American airplane. And they knew, or suspected, that it was done because the president was baiting them so he could get involved. So, and so when that plane landed, sat there for 3 days, no one fired a shot, it left, and then the fight resumed.
Yeah. Actually, I got an email. Linden Air Cargo is an operator in Alaska. They operate C-130s.
Mm-hmm.
And you know how Google's listening, so they sent me an email saying they had first officer positions open.
There you go.
5,000 hour minimum for a first officer at C-130s in Alaska. So there you go, fellas. If you're qualified and you can stand the cold, pretty decent opportunity. Where else are you going to fly a C-130 besides the military?
Yeah. The Southern Air Transport. Delta had one for a while. They tried
the L-100s.
The L-100 series, and but I wouldn't. You gotta want to live up there. Ken and I have both been to Alaska several times. Ken lived up there for a while, and it's an interesting place. But you've got take care, Sliga. You gotta want it, but there is a time in my life I'd have been all over that, and C-130 is a cool airplane,
Yeah, it is. As far as I understand, they're pretty small operation. They have like 12 airframes, so you're assigned to a single.
Yeah, well, it's a niche operation. Those are more like families than businesses. As romantic as I find the old airplanes, and they are, but to fly one day in and day out in the real weather, I mean, that's something that'll get old in a hurry. I know a lot of guys, even at my level, at my age, who've flown cargo DC-3s and Beech 18s, and that was where they cut their teeth. But I'm going to tell you right now, flying something like a Goonie Bird, even with the updated instrumentation, flying something like a DC-3 in Ohio in the winter, flying car parts around, I mean, that's challenging flying. And Alaska's even more so. It's like that with terrain. And
so there's a Canadian operator.
Buffalo.
Yeah, Buffalo, and then there's another one, Norlair or something like that.
Norair, huh?
They still operate the straight pipe
737s.
-200 737s.
Yeah, there's a few of the oldest 737 flying is a -200, an early one with Avior in Venezuela. And there's an American who somehow got down there and bought a flight on it. And it's showing its age for sure. But, they're robust little airplanes.
I'm a little remiss because I love all these old airplanes. I'd love to get the opportunity to fly some of them, even as a passenger. But I'm just at that age. Delta, I think, has MD-80s, and they're set to retire next year. I'd love to fly the MD-80.
I think they've already retired the Mad Dog. They got the 95s. They're not going anywhere.
The 95s.
I just rode on
They were-
one. That wedding I went to, we did 2 legs on an MD-95. My wife could not understand why I was so excited. She goes,
From what I understand, those are the Boeing production, the 717s.
Don't let Mike hear you say that.
Yeah.
What it is
But-
they bought they were made in Long Beach, which was the Douglas
Yeah.
factory. But yes, Boeing had acquired them, but they were still made.
Oh, Ken's back.
Yeah, I
But they
came
were
back
still-
to say to add to the conversation.
Uh-huh.
I told Max about this, but the Delta Air Museum, I don't know exactly what you call it, in Atlanta has a 737-200 simulator, full motion simulator. You can buy rides on.
So there you go, Gav. You get a chance to fly 200
Yeah.
sim.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to go to Atlanta, but that's beyond the point.
Well, you know the old saying about Atlanta: if you die in the South, you have to go through. Your soul has to go through Atlanta to get to heaven.
And I guess a lot of us aren't making it there.
You can't get there from here. But
From what I understand on the Delta Mad Dogs is they are actually owned by Southwest, and they lease them from Southwest, which is weird to think about since Southwest is all 7.3.
well, the MD-95s largely belong to TWA, and then the AirTran was AirTran had a bunch of them. When AirTran got bought out by Southwest, they call it a merger, but make no mistake, I can tell you some stories about that. It was not pretty. Then, of course, Southwest is like, we have no use for these things.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I don't know if they sold them or leased them, but that's where Delta got them. Delta had retired the DC-9s, which they loved. They had a lot of experience with. And I think they already bought some of the MD-95s. They were the only operator of them left after T-Way and AirTran. So they just
Air Hawaii uses them.
Oh, that's
I'm not
right.
gonna lie.
I should say mainland U.S. Yeah, they do hop around the islands in them. The airplane, I know some guys that flew it, and it's 75% a DC-9. Engines, it's got a tail off the MD-90. It's got those big BMW or whichever engines you option out on them, but they're plenty powerful. And it's got a partially glass cockpit, so it's definitely updated. But a lot of the structure and everything is exactly the same, came off the same assembly line. But Boeing wanted to put that thing down, and they tried to kill it. And Delta, they wanted to make Delta a deal on a bunch of 7.3s because they didn't want to support the airplane. And Delta was like, no, this is what we fly. We've got them. You got a contract. You're going to live up to it. And I don't know what the ones we flew on were finally just starting to show their age. But my God, they still got plenty of guts on them. They took off. And my wife could not understand why I was so happy to be riding it. So first off, the other plane was a CRJ 900. So it was going to be much tighter inside. But I said the real reason I love this is one of the last of the actual classic airframes. And
This is the last Douglas. I mean, in a sense, the 787 is actually part Douglas. A lot of Douglas engineers worked on that program. And from what I've heard, talked to folks who fly it, when it works, it's a lovely airplane.
Yes.
It's a pilot's dream, and it's a passenger's dream. That's why they call it the Dreamliner.
So, Gavin, when you make your 30-mile trek to the hobby store, are you have any kits in mind that you're looking to buy, or is it just kind of like you're searching and seeing what hits you?
A little bit of both. He has a very small kit inventory. Like I said, he's mostly trains. He will order whatever you want. But so I kind of know what he has. So if I know he has something and I want it, then I'll go get it. But sometimes I just walk in there, see what there is, and hopefully walk out with something. I do end up ordering a lot online because I'm 2.5 hours from St. Louis. That's where
That's
the
a good
closest.
thing.
Well, that's where the closest IPMS is, and I'm kind of living in a model desert, truth be told. I mean, there's no.
Okay,
clubs or
I am
anything
stealing
around.
that phrase. I've never heard those two words go together. Model desert. I am so stealing that.
Yeah, but as far as I know, my girlfriend builds models. My brother builds sometimes. He's more of an outdoorsman.
Why don't you get her on next time when you come on?
I think you've had her on, right? Didn't I see her in one of the videos?
She's been on the channel.
Yeah. That's. Girls, for some reason, it's really hard to find girls that have any interest in building models, as you're probably aware. So you have a very rare lady there. We only have a few of them on the channel.
Yeah. Well, I was pleasantly surprised. I went to the Gateway IPMS, which is their chapter. They had their convention in September, and there were quite a few ladies there. I was pleasantly surprised.
Oh, that's great.
One of the good channels up on YouTube is Dirt Red Cinderella.
Red Cinderella, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, she is.
She owns some interesting experiments too. I like some of the paints and everything.
And I'm trying to get her on as a guest.
Of course, we got Sarah Jane and oh gosh, I forgot who does all the motorcycles. The girl, something B. Oh gosh. Oh man, memory. We have a few of them. My wife does dolls, so we use a lot of the same equipment and everything, and she has definitely helped me with them. A lot of times I'll get the figures and I just gotta paint that. And she goes, I don't do ones as small. I'm like, you got to do better than I do. So she's helped me out with a few models. She's really good at matching colors, which I'm terrible at. That's one of the reasons I haven't finished that Roscoe Turner Weedle Williams race plane from Williams Brothers, is because the decals for the black and orange stripe don't go all the way around the cowling. You have to hand paint that. And I'm like, I'll never match that orange correctly.
Yeah.
And,
well, heck, you've been working on that 5 years. You were talking about
it's been sitting there in a box, an open box, yeah.
Yeah.
I did one of them, but I did it as Jimmy Weedle's plane, which is just black and white. These race pilots of the air had some really colorful paint schemes that are hard to duplicate.
Yeah, still do. I mean, you look at the P-51s that go to Reno and the Bearcats. And they're gaudy almost.
Their paint jobs cost more than my house.
The crowd comes up with a good point. He says, we need a model exchange forum to accommodate those in model deserts.
Yeah, we do have the one of the glue troopers actually set up the Max's Models trading post on Facebook. I haven't seen it in forever, but I'd like, go for it, man.
And Trey's going to write a book. It's called Model Building or How to Stay Single.
Yeah.
I'm catching up on the comments. There's Sarah Jane. She's online with us, one of the ladies here.
I will. Growing up, in high school, kids are mean. we'll just say that.
You could just say kids are mean. We were all kids. We all grew up. We know exactly what you mean.
And in the modern age, you don't dare tell anyone that you build little plastic airplanes, because you'll get ran through the dirt. So that was a little tough,
When I graduated in '79, there were about 3 of us that built model airplanes. That had kind of faded out by the late '70s, and not probably as bad as you get it today, but we got our share of Snickers, and they were like, and what was it? Trey just said, what was the comment he just made that was kind of on point? Model building or how to stay single, and they were kind of like, you can do one of 2 things. You can build models or have a girlfriend. And I was like, I don't think that's not really a fair thing to say. It just happened to work out that way. Because one of us did have a girlfriend, and but it was just one of those things that, as you get to car driving age, it starts to develop a bit of a stigma. But then once you get in your late 30s or whatever, it kind of loops back to it's cool again. Don't ask me why, it just is.
Well, I mean, even as soon as I left high school, of course, I'm in the community college now, and you do presentations for like public speaking class or whatever. Mm-hmm. I used some of my models in it, and I'm like, yeah, I made these, and people actually, were kind about it, So I think it's just high school kids being mean. Mm-hmm. It's a big part of it, but no hate to them. The kids are dumb. I was one. Still am.
Most guys, and Eric just made this point, most guys get out of model building about the time they get a driver's license and can take girls on dates. All right? But after a certain point, late 20s, whenever, they kind of drift back into it. It's just, it's a pretty, and I can't count A lot of guys have to wait until they've raised their kids. I seriously have lost track of how many people have told me and I'm thrilled to get an email or a comment that said that I watched your channel and it got me back into building. I'm 40, the kids are gone, and I got back into building models, and that's great. It does seem to be a hobby that's popular at certain stages of life, and but I've shared this before, so I don't mind humiliating myself again. When I was like 14 or 15, on the very rare occasion that I had the opportunity to, I would show my model collection to a girl, and I could never understand how I genuinely thought that would impress them. And of course, we all know that didn't happen. And when I watched The Big Bang Theory and Wolowitz talks about getting into magic to impress girls, I'm kind of like, yeah, him it was magic, with me it was models. There's always the hobby that we think is so cool that, so it is what it is,
Ask me anything you wish to know about model aeroplanes.
So Ken, we should.
Okay, hold on. That was from Keeping Up Appearances.
I think so. Yeah.
Ask me anything you want to know about model aeroplanes.
So Ken, we should now call Max Howard.
Oh God. For those who haven't seen it, there's a wonderful British sitcom called Keeping Up Appearances. In fact, the lady that played Hyacinth the Bouquet, just passed away. I mean, like within the past week or two, I think. And I think it was Rose, who was her sister, so that was always out picking up strange men. And she tells a story about, this man asked me if I wanted to come over to his apartment to see his collection of model aeroplanes. And I was like, well, of course. And when I got there, he showed me his collection of model aeroplanes. Ask me anything you want to know about model aeroplanes. There was an entire category of kids, of men who were like, oh my God, that was me.
Yep.
So you're a good company. Styrene widows. The wives.
Here we go. Wayne says, the wives of a few YouTube channel modelers have started a group called the Styrene Widows. Here, John Ashley says, pretty much every girlfriend I had bought me kits. Well, boy, those were finds.
Those are all keepers.
Wow, yeah.
You find one of those, you want to keep that one.
Yeah.
He found multiple. I mean,
yeah, really. Where's he from?
That's like that bass hit that Canadian dude hit last night. I mean, that's.
Where do you find girls like that? Any idea?
Yeah, they're usually living next door to Bigfoot with by the lake that has the Loch Ness monster in it.
Yeah. Yep.
Where did you find yours, Gavin?
We went to school together.
Did she help you build models, or she build her own kits?
She builds her own.
Oh. Was that probably for cars or planes or what?
She builds everything like I do, and I actually got her into it, she saw me do it and wanted to do it, so I was like, cool.
But you haven't done much in the way of figures or kaiju or any of that stuff, though, right?
No, I can't paint a figure to save my life. And
Max, you're changing the subject. We had a great subject going here, and you changed it to figurines.
And the subject of girls and models goes for about 3 minutes before we all run out of things to say. There just isn't enough material out there. Fine. Tell us more about what she builds.
She builds everything like I do, and
see, girls have a built-in advantage. Years of doing makeup and nails has taught them how to paint in detail.
Oh yeah, she's excellent at paint work. Got a much finer eye for it than I do, and she hasn't been doing it all too long. I've been doing this for over a decade, and I could still make a good glue bomb. I'm proud to say.
Oh, listen, I offered to paint my wife's toenails for her. I thought it'd be a thing. She's like, "No, I've seen your models." I'm gonna pay for that, but it was worth it.
That was a good one. She gets points for that one.
Yeah, the worst point is I'm not even making it up.
Oh.
He was a nice guy. We all liked him. Oh. So,
Max just opens his mouth and stuff comes out.
yeah, everybody run for cover. So anyway,
I think that's probably why we have half the viewers we do. They just tune in to see what Max is going to say.
What will he say next?
Well,
Your Honor. Well,
you already got a pool going when he's going to mention the G.
oh,
Your
you see,
Your
now,
Honor, it was going along smoothly, and then Mr. Conkey said this.
what was it? De Niro made that movie. What just happened? Yeah.
It's like, hey, Derek, come look at this idiot. He's saying stuff today.
He's saying stuff, and it's on the internet, so it'll be out there in the universe forever.
The crowd says, of course she didn't want you to paint her nails. Women don't want Godzilla toenails.
Hey, he beat me to it.
It's an hour and 2 minutes.
Hour and 2 minutes. And what just the hell is wrong with Godzilla toenails? Wait a minute, that sounded wrong. Godzilla's toenails do look terrible. I meant Godzilla on your toenails.
Keep trying, Max. Keep
Yeah.
trying.
Yeah.
Well, now they're trying to figure out who had an hour and 2 minutes.
So, but
Listen.
It says train wreck syndrome. You want to turn away, but you
you just can't. And now it's heading out in the universe. And 4 billion years from now, some advanced alien species flying by in their spaceships kind of catch the signal. Like, oh, look at this guy.
My favorite show of all time on TV is Top Gear.
Oh, yeah.
And every time my wife sees me watching it, she'll come in and she shakes her head and she goes, "It's just juvenile." She goes, it's like you and Max and Ken.
Yeah. If any of us had talent, a TV show, and knew enough about, well, you know enough about cars, but actually Ken does too.
Like I was saying earlier, I usually work on Saturday nights, so I usually listen to this show, and I'll be laughing, and someone will be looking at me funny. What are you laughing about? And I'm like, if you only knew.
Now you're part of it.
I will tell you that my wife occasionally watches this, and sometimes I can tell if she watched this or not, and probably will tonight. When it's over, and she goes, "Are you done yet?" And I look at it, and if she's like happily watching playing on her computer, I'm safe. But if she's kind of like at the look, I'm like, "What?" You know what? If I knew what, I
said
probably
What thing are you mad about?
Yeah. Oh, where did it begin?
37 tangents.
Yeah. Oh, that she doesn't mind, but
Who crossed the line tonight?
But I'll tell you what, she actually is a big influence on the channel. She has, because I run a lot of ideas past her, and she has some of her own too that are. She goes, "Hey, what if you did this?" And like any creative person, my initial response is, "Oh, don't tell me what." Well, actually, that's probably not a bad idea. But sometimes like, I've got to do this, and she'll, if she likes the idea, I know it's good because she has a really good eye, for that. But if she really thinks it's a dumb idea, then it's probably best stayed away from. And I've had some Lulus, trust me.
The crowd says properly thinned nail polish is great for custom car models.
Some people use ink also. They get the ink. There is no cheating in model building. The only cheating you can do in model building is taking credit for somebody else's work.
Trey says, "My wife said, I'm mad." I said, "Again or still?"
Well, I know Arlene, so I'm going to say again.
He's going to get it tonight.
I think that's still. For me, I think that's still. It's still crazy after all these years.
Well, one of the things, though, and this is by no means an absolute, but it just dawned on me, is that most of the people I know who build bottles, our age, are married. And now that I think about it, a lot of them have only been married. I mean, they're still married to their original wives. So I don't know if that has anything to do with, but.
Well, I mean, you spend money on $80 vintage kits, you don't have any money to go out and find them.
I tell my wife, say, it's cheaper than going out to the bars, and she's like, not by much.
At least you got
Actually,
something
no,
to show up on the side.
that was a total joke. No, it's not. She actually really encourages my model building because, and she's a very common sense person. Okay, and definitely she's the adult.
She
in the
married
room.
you.
I didn't say she was perfect. I fooled her. No, no. My wife is when her and I go someplace, it takes about 3 seconds for anyone to realize she's the adult in the room. Okay, I'm the kid. When we go and buy stuff like furniture or whatever, the salesperson always try to come to me, and it's like I just and whatever. She's and my God, that woman can make a salesperson cry. But anyway, but the thing is, though, is that I totally forgot where I was going to go. Oh, yeah. The reason she likes the hobby is because, one, it keeps me at home, not out getting in trouble doing something, getting speeding tickets or falling off a boat or whatever. And I said, wait till I go out with Ken. The day is still young. When you think
I have
about
a T-shirt I'm going to get you, Max. Says rule number 1: stay in the boat.
Yeah. Fortunately, I float. But the other thing is, and people, and it's kind of, Gavin, this kind of dovetails with what you were mentioning earlier. You might drop $80 on a kit, but if you spend a month building it, and sometimes I look at all the tape and paintbrushes and chemicals that went into making one model. I'm like, look at all the detritus that was generated making this one model. But you also realize, yeah, maybe that's $30-$40 worth of materials, $50-$80 for the kit, but it took me a month to do it. And what other hobby out there for $150 can you entertain yourself for an entire month? I went to the video's up. I went out to the range the other day, and we gave the revolver some exercise. That was $150, and we're done in 2 hours.
Yeah, I mean, if you work on it, you work on it all 31 days of the month. You divide 80 by 31, and it's like $2.50 a day. You can't get any entertainment for that.
And when you're done, you have something. And
Exactly.
But okay, now Gavin, here's a question, and I'll tell you the truth if you tell me the truth. Have you ever, and if you have, how many you think of, built a model that came out so bad you just threw it away?
Yeah, multiple. And sometimes you get mad at it and whatever. And I say this on my channel. If it's a $100 kit, if it's a $5 kit, it's just plastic.
Mm-hmm.
It's not worth your mental health. It's not worth your rage and your anger. If you screwed it wrong the way up, throw it away. It's just plastic. Even if it's a wing that wings, it's just plastic. If you haven't screwed it up yet, walk away. If it takes you, come back tomorrow. If you're not ready then, come back next week. I took a 2-month break from this Constitution just because I just didn't want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew if I
It's a hobby,
attempted
not a
to do it
homework.
and didn't want to, I would have messed it up.
What's the longest, Gavin, it ever took you to make a kit?
Well, I started this Constitution January 1st, so I say that's it.
Okay.
But I can understand
Working
it. With, Bruce, the Mystic Modeler Ships, who I'm probably going to give him your email in case you got any questions. But or you can just comment on his channel. He's a great guy. Probably. Actually, Ken, I was planning to have lunch with him next Saturday on my way to see you. But
You got to get into
one of us didn't get the memo.
I say
Okay.
too.
So anyway, well, I'm glad you told me now. But I'm not mad.
Yeah, wouldn't that have been funny if you were in Chicago and he drove down and is sitting at the boat waiting?
Oh,
for you?
bloody hilarious!
I'm going to surprise Ken and show up.
Yeah.
That is the one thing I don't do because I've already had my life experience with that. And but I have at least 4 kits that were so bad they just went straight in the trash can. And Usually it was the paint job, but there were a couple of them the kit was just so bad. But what I learned was instead of throwing it away, I just throw it in the parts bin because you never know when you can hack something off and use it for something. And I've got this recently happened. A glue trooper gave me that Aurora FE2 World War One two-seat fighter, the Bristol. I had just done. I just rigged something. It wasn't long after I'd done the Douglas World Cruisers, I think. But by the way. And just take my word on this. Don't ever waste time rigging a 1/72nd scale biplane. Unless you want to go freaking insane. Okay? I rigged a couple of them, like those Douglas where they're all 1/72nd scale, and I had to do 4 of them. And I looked recently, one of them, the rigging, the easy line broke, and I was like, maintenance. It's just under repair. But that... If you're going to rig models that small, that's when you need to be getting the microscope and the surgeon's tools and everything. But they get the brass kit or something where you just glue them into place. But I had drilled out. I had come up with the perfect easy rigging system, and this was the perfect airplane to do it. Okay, it's 1/48 scale. It's a 2-seat airplane, so it's a little larger. And I had drilled all the holes in the wings, and I was going to lace the easy line through, super glue everything into place, and once it all hardened, just sand off the part that you could see, prime it, sand it, prime it, and then all the rigging's in place, super glued in place. It's all under light tension, but it would have just, with the pre-cut holes, it would have just been a matter of, stitching through everything, only to find out when I got all the holes dug that the kit had been boxed without one half of the fuselage. So now that whole airplane I use as a spray paint trainer, tester, and and a box of spare parts. But there are 100 ways to rig a biplane. Some guys use string, some guys use easy line. The Felix Stowe that Fran just did, I think he decided to use thread on that instead of easy line because it can actually. So that thing's got big, heavy wings on it because it's got a 3-foot wingspan, and that can actually add some tension to help hold the wings. Because the big Felix Stowe, those wings will. That's why it comes with the supports that go, the little saw horses that go into the wings. They will sag. They're just too heavy for those, and it's a really well-made kit. Insane level, and they give you 2 options in the box: early model with the late model, and being 1/32nd scale, it's easier to rig, but there's a ton of it. And some people make, say use brass rod, fine brass wire or guitar string. There's a bunch of different techniques, but wherever you do with some guys actually will make a template. They will literally make a clear piece of plastic, firm, that goes with all the holes drilled in it, so all the struts will stay in place, so they can rig everything without putting the top wing on yet. That way they can see what they're doing and everything. Some guys use the gas patch turnbuckles and just drill a hole and super glue them into place. That's what the professional model builders do. They usually use turnbuckles. There's 1,000 videos out there on how to do it, and they're all good. The thing is, just like with your ship, do not set yourself a schedule, say I have to be done by Wednesday or something. Do it when you're in the mood, because it is time intensive. Obviously you work from the inside out. Have a plan, but whatever you're going to do, I know a lot of guys like to pre-thread all the things and use an accelerator on the CA glue, and that's fine. But whatever you do, make bloody well sure that you just take your time and do it when you're in the mood. Because of something, and it helps to make a frame or something to hold the wings in place till you're done, because that has a way of just driving you absolutely batshit crazy. And I don't usually use that language, but I mean, in this case, it merits it. And I saw someone that did this world-class Airco, which is the pusher, that has all that rigging. And I just sat there in absolute marvel. And then I got I have managed to lose it, but I had this beautiful book on the Felix Stowe that was given to me with the airplane. And it showed you the professionally built one. And I mean, just mind-blowing work. And then somebody told me, you do know that it took him 2 years to build that model. You know, So that's
2 years.
that's the level of patience. Okay,
Yeah.
that's all with that, Red.
On the Felix, though, if I may,
Mm-hmm.
every video from the moment you got it to the when the shelf fell, I compiled all the videos, any live stream where you talked about it, into a playlist. It's on my channel. Anyone can look at it. Max gets all the views. I just sorted the videos. And when you start that other one you got, the Rodin one, I'll make a playlist for that one too. So if anyone's interested, wants to go back and revisit that, because it was a gorgeous airplane. It really was.
You had to
It's on
mention
the channel.
you had to mention the Rodin one, didn't you? I'll get to it at some point. Now, the nice thing about the Rodin one is that I've always wanted to do a way to get around rigging that. Is I've always wanted to do a World War I Godzilla scene. Okay, an hour and 16 minutes before I said Godzilla. No, I built some Rodin. Have you built any Rodin kits?
Started one, C-141, which I love that airplane. It's so cool. And found out it was missing one of the engines, so I shelved it in.
Do a maintenance diorama.
Lost. Yeah.
Did you find a horrible
It's been
fits and
lost.
big gaps and?
No, not really.
Really?
It
I'm
was-
glad to hear that, because I built some Rodin kits and they were a bear, just because
Really?
poor fits and everything.
Yeah.
But I'm
Even
glad
in
you had a
that
good experience
scale-
with it.
Even in that scale, it was 1 to 144. C-141 is big.
Yeah, that's about what that Lindbergh kit. I've got another one up here. The one I did wheels down. This other one I'll probably do wheels up for a stand. But I've got one on a stick. I've got two of them on sticks because my brother was a navigator on them. The B models.
Yeah.
This is the A model, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, the short one. But
I should get that kit again. I think I will. It's in the flat gray that the modern Air Force uses. It looks pretty good in that scheme.
mm-hmm. The very last one in the Air Force, they had the Lizard planes, they had the Grays, and they had the admin aircraft, which are white over gray. When I was visiting my brother out in Norton, I asked him about that. He says every 141 squadron had to have at least one white over gray, what they call administratively painted star lifter, because the camos and the grays are considered warplanes. But the white over gray and the administrative colors, that's what they call it, is considered a non-combat aircraft, okay? Because it's in an executive paint scheme. So they have to have that to go to certain countries. And
That's interesting.
but by the time my brother was flying on them in the late 80s, early 90s, they were already getting a little long in the tooth, even the B models. And nothing uncommon about the planes breaking, the guy spending a few extra days in some garden spot like Diego Garcia because the plane broke.
Yeah, it was a thirsty airplane. I mean, compared to the C-17 with those high bypass
Oh yeah,
fans.
yeah. Well, you know, it was the best of late 50s, early 60s tech.
Yeah.
It's a great airplane. And then I saw the very last one in Air Force inventory at Jackson, Mississippi. The guard unit there, or reserve unit, had, I don't know if it was guard or reserve, I think it might have been reserve unit, but they were the last operator in the Air Force. I guess it's Mississippi Air National Guard. But anyway, and as I would fly in, I used to go into Jackson pretty regularly. And I saw 6 of them out there, and I came in a month later, and there were 4 of them out there, and I came in a month later, there were 1 of them out there, and the C-17s were replacing them. And I asked one of the guys at the airport about it. He said, that is the last 141 Star Lifter in Air Force inventory, and it'll be gone at the end of the month to go to a museum or something, or a boneyard. And
they just retired the KC-10s last year.
I didn't realize
Every single one of them.
I didn't realize they'd been retired. Yeah.
Yeah, every single one of them. And, we still got all the 135s. Actually, Illinois Air National Guard, I think, has the most C-135s, KC-135s.
So, Gavin, how long have you been building models?
Probably about 15 years, I'd say, around there.
How
So
many
4 or
models
5.
how many you think you've built?
Well, I put all the ones I can remember up on scale mates and in the sword function, and it's around 95, I think.
That's
So
a good
far.
resume. What was your favorite? That you
My
built
favorite
so
kit
far?
ever, and you'll get a kick out of this. My favorite kit ever was my first kit, and I built it 4 times. is the Revell box scale USS Missouri.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which was the first kit that Revell made.
First kit Revell made by themselves. And I guess it's because it's my first kit. That's my favorite kit ever.
That's what, a 1 to 350 or something, or?
It's like 1 to 5 something. It's a weird box scale.
Well, here's a little piece of trivia for you. That kit, and I'm 99% sure that was it, is the first model, and I guess I was 12 or 13. It is the first model kit that I built, painted, and took home movie footage of. And I painted the whole red and the top gray and put the decal. That was really about as much detail as I put on it. I was like 12, and I remember I was so happy the way it looked that I got my Super 8mm Kodak XL33 home movie camera that used a cartridge Super 8 film that went in the back, but it had the side cheeks on it, and it was the one that had a switch for the enlarged lens. You did not need a light. You could take it in ambient room. It was the first Super 8mm commercial camera that could take a film in ambient light in a room indoors. And I remember filming it from all the different angles. And
well, that kit was so successful, so popular, like the Aurora Godzilla. There's actually 2 molds. And
I didn't know that.
Differences between it.
Yep.
The one at Hobby Lobby, in the Revell box, it's kind of a grayish box art, very reminiscent of steel, actually. But the one at Hobby Lobby is the first mold, the original 55 mold. And it got so popular, and Revell wanted to motorize it, they made a second mold. And it's a little bit different. The whole shape's a little different. And that's the one that Atlantis has.
Mm-hmm.
So the Atlantis and the Revell one are a little different, but most of the parts are interchangeable. And the funny thing about that kit is if you flip over the hull, it is actually asymmetrical because it was up where it curves around the first turret. It's asymmetrical by like a ½ inch.
Well, that's actually a pretty fair bit. I wonder how that happened.
So Gavin, how many kits do you have in your stash currently?
I live at home still, so it's not very large. It's about 30. And I just ordered 3 from Atlantis before I got on here, so it'll be 3 more.
Gavin,
What'd you order?
Let's see. Let me look at my receipt.
You said the triplane. You say you're getting the DR1 from Atlantis?
I'm getting the DR1, which has got the black airplane on the box, which is cool because you always see Rick Toffin's airplane.
Yeah, right. He gets tired of the Red Baron. There were other pilots.
Yeah, and from what I understand, he never had a fully red DR1. He had a fully red Albatross, but the DR1 he flew, the back half was still linen colored, as far as I understand.
I'm not entirely. I've seen a picture of the wreckage. It may have been. As people forget, though, is that as I repaired those airplanes and everything, they changed quite frequently. It wasn't a big deal.
It's just fabric,
fabric,
any color. So I'm getting the DR1, which was Aurora. I'm getting the Convair 990, and I'm getting it because I love the 990.
I've got one right here, a beautiful plane.
And it's got the NASA decals, and the plane in the box was actually used to test the brakes for the space shuttle.
Let's see. Yeah,
And
yeah, here it is.
Yep, that's it.
Now, I'll tell you what I'm going to do with mine. I already have a plan for this. Did you ever see Close Encounters of the Third Kind?
Once, and it was a very long time ago.
Okay. There's probably one of the best scenes. It was actually shot at an air traffic control center. It's probably one of the best scenes in the history of Hollywood. And being a professional pilot, the way these actors, and they were all actors, none of them were real controllers, they absolutely had the voice, the tonality, the behavior of air traffic controllers. Even air traffic controllers said it's like sitting watching a training video where they see the UFO on the screen and they're having the airplane maneuver and it comes after. And well, I thought he was calling the airplane. The call sign was Aries. It's Air East. Okay, it's a fictitious airline that they made up with. Although I think Aries would have been a cool name for an airline. But anyway, there is a deleted scene that was not put in the movie. All right, at the theatrical release, but you can go on YouTube and see it. And it shows when the plane lands and taxis up, and the Air Force and the government officials come on and confiscate everybody's cameras and everything. And the crew is grumbling. I told you we shouldn't have said anything. But
I tell you what,
but it's a 990. So I'm going to paint this up as the Air East 990 from that scene, that deleted scene in the movie.
the one they got in the box was used to test the brakes and the tires for the space shuttle.
That's the paint scheme you want for that one.
Yeah.
And what's the third kit?
The third kit is just released the 32nd scale Buick because I have an original. This is a partially started in built kit and it's missing some, so I want a full one to display in front of the box.
Perfect. That's a great
The new one's got windows too.
Oh, lovely.
Yep.
I'll tell you what, if you want to see some good flying scenes, there's a East German television series.
Yeah.
Just a second.
He has been commanded from high command. Well, that's happened to all of us. With him, it's parents. With us, it's wives.
Did you take the trash out yet?
She's eating it.
Now,
Kirby,
Kirby was
right?
a dog you lost, or that's Kirby?
No. Kirby's gone to doggy heaven. This is Casey.
Casey, sorry.
Casey, look.
What a sweet little dog. You do love your beagles.
Yes, they are. They're good dogs.
You know, a movie.
When they're not chewing on everything. Thanks.
What does he think he is, a Wookiee?
Yeah.
Well, anyway, Mom made meatloaf, more meatloaf. She who must be
Okay, so while Gavin's away, who's working on what?
I'm still working on Jupiter too. I got an email from Dan Monroe. I showed him what I was doing. By the way, I forgot. I didn't have time to set it up. Everybody, Steve told me, and I looked it up. June Lockhart, Maureen Robinson, passed away today. Or it was actually 2 days ago. 100 years old. So she was the last of the senior Lost in Space cast. Now it's just the kids.
And for those of you who are older, Lassie's owner.
Lassie's owner, that's right. While you're gone, we were talking about the actress June Lockhart from Lost in Space.
Yes.
Played the mom. She just passed away at the age of 100.
Oh, I remember what I was talking about. If you want to see some good flying scenes,
Yes.
Something that's a little different, there's an East German television series. It was called Treffpunkt Flughafen, or however you say it.
Airfield. Yeah.
And yeah,
Actually, Air Haven to be specific.
it's on YouTube. I think it's all on YouTube. Of course, you have to use subtitles in German, but it follows basically an IL-62 crew, which is one of my favorite airliners, the big Russian four-engine job.
Mm-hmm. That's
and
the
he's
low
showing
wing,
me
right? Looks like a DC-7 with turboprops.
No, it's the looks like a VC-10.
Oh, okay. You have four on the tail. Okay, I know exactly what you're talking
on the
about.
back.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think I was
but
thinking that.
they're based out of the Schönefeld in Berlin, and it's got some excellent flying scenes in it. I think it's from the 70s.
Cool. I actually used to see those. There was one that came into Dulles when I was tossing bags there for Aeroflot. And when I was doing the Cuba run a couple of years ago, we go to Havana. There was a derelict one from Cubana.
Yeah.
And
when that airplane went into service in '62, it was the largest airplane in the world. Passenger airplane.
Oh, passenger airliner, yeah. Yeah, the VC-10 is another great one. That's a beautiful airplane. And everyone ever flew it just talked about it. The way the Americans, top pilots, talk about the L-1011. The airplanes, you can tell a lot about an airplane. The old saying, it looks right, it flies right. But also, you just listen to the crews speak. And when you hear them talk about the 737, they talk about like they're talking about a dump truck. It does the job. 707 had those Dutch roll issues. DC-8 didn't have. It had its own issues. But you got the guys who flew the 7.2, and they talk about all the stuff they could do in that airplane. They really loved it. But it took some
guys
skills.
Guys that fly the 757 are the same way.
Yeah, the L-1011, the 7.5, the 7.6, the 7.2. a lot of guys are fanatical about their DC-9s. The VC-10, and those are the ones everybody's like, oh, we used to do this and we used to do that.
We're forgetting arguably the most important one, the 747.
Well, now that one's a little, how can I put it? One of my first officers, and this is weird, I had a 63-year-old first officer who had been a pilot at Pan Am, and I mean the real Pan Am. And I'm like, Kevin, you were one of the first pilots at JetBlue. Why are you my first officer? Well, he turned 60 a month before the age 65 rule kicked in. And they wouldn't let him stay on property. So he had to go off and come back as a new hire. You have any idea how awkward it is to have as your first officer one of the founding pilots for the airline? And like, it just... So I always treated him with great reverence. Well, he was flying 727s out of the Pan Am's Berlin operation. A lot of people aren't familiar that after the war, Germany wasn't allowed an airline. And so Pan Am was doing a lot of their in and out of Berlin stuff around Europe. And then he came back and flew the 747 as an FO for a while. And he always said the 747 was a good old man's airplane. It was very docile, very predictable, and they tended to go point A to point B, so it was one landing, one takeoff. These guys were getting 4 or 5 landings a month. But most guys who flew the 747 had the general opinion that, yes, it is a classic airplane. It's very stable. It's a great airplane.
Lumbers.
But yeah, it's just not like a 7.2. We can do this and we can do that, and the 7.4 is like, nothing happens too quick. And you're really getting to weight and systems management.
Yeah, it's like you tell people you're an Air Force pilot, you won't tell them you fly a C5.
But I find that, generally speaking, my experience with Air Force pilots has been that the really fun, slightly psychotic ones flew something with guns on it. And they were a completely different mentality from the cargo guys. The cargo guys might as well have been flying for FedEx. They were very laid back. Hey, man, let's get there on time, safe and sound, hit the bar, just a great bunch of easy going, pretty mellow, pretty chill. You get the fighter guys, the A-10 guys, and they're like, where's the target? Fight, kill. And the most fighter pilot-esque thing I ever heard was from one of my FOs who had retired as a light colonel from the Air Force. He'd started off in Cobras in the Army, went to the Air Force, flew F-15s, 117s, and even did one of those 2-year-long swap programs with the Navy. So he got qualified on the F-18 and flew a couple of cruises off carriers because they do that to cross-pollinate the services. And he's talking about flying in Kosovo and all these other places. And there was a hot zone; he had to be there because he was, this is what he did. He was a fighter pilot. And I asked him one day, he's talking about these missions over Kosovo. I said, look, when you're in these hot zones, do you fly with the radar turned on? And he goes, oh, absolutely. You want to be able to see what's out there. And I was like, yeah, but if you got the radar hot, that means they can see you. Without batting an eye, almost like what I'd said was an insult, he just goes, who cares? You're driving an Eagle. Hey, Warriors, come out to play.
He's got a point. 104-0.
104-0, baby. HLC always makes that point. 104-0.
I know the Phantom has the moniker of the largest distributor of MiG parts, but it's not true. It's the F-15.
Well, when Bob Hope said it, the F-15 wasn't around yet. But what is this guy's name? I just stumbled onto this all ex-Marine. He's a... oh, crap. I need to go... He is freaking hilarious. I mean, he just comes up with these nicknames for stuff like, he just did one on the M42 Duster, had the twin 40 millimeters, which I think everybody and their brothers made a kit of because the things were everywhere in Vietnam. And he talks about, you can put so many rounds of freedom downrange. And, I forget, I can't remember the names he calls stuff, but, so it's like, the murder machine. Oh, the airborne murder machine, the AC-130. You know, and he just has all these great names. And he's almost as funny as HLC, except he's in front of the camera just talking. But some of the stuff he says, I absolutely cannot repeat without getting canceled and probably arrested. Let me just check real quick, because this is a guy a lot of you are going to want to check out.
So, Gavin, in the interim, what was the first model you built?
It was the Revell, USS Missouri.
Missouri?
Yeah, yeah. And it was like a mid-'70s issue that my grandma just saw and got for me. He's like, here, you know, and I built it there at the dining room table in like half an hour because there's nothing to it.
Hey, everybody's got to start someplace.
Yeah, and yeah, I built it like 4 times. That's the most I've built a single kit.
Now, did you do anything different to it as you built the other iterations?
The most recent one, and the one I still have, I made a base, painted it light blue. I made it look like one of the dealer displays.
Okay.
Less the plexiglass cover, because I couldn't make that if I wanted to. But I looked at the photographs, I looked at old model kits, see how they had it painted, and did it up like that.
It's the name of his YouTube channel is Tactically Acquired. Tactically Acquired. Trust me, you're going to want to watch a couple of his videos. He's just funny. I think he's a former Marine officer, I believe. And, he always talks about his inner Marine. But you know what? I can't repeat the things he says. But while I was looking for it, I saw that Eric has a new video up from celebrating vintage model kits, and I know you watch that channel.
Is it? I watched one last night about the plastic card.
Yeah.
Comet.
That's the one that just popped up on my feed.
Yeah.
And
that's a rough kit. Yeah.
Well, what I love about Eric's videos is they are straight to the point. He shows some pictures of the airplane, shows the box, goes through it, shows all the parts, talks about it. He gave me that Focke-Wulf 190 I just built recently, and the monogram white box kit. It was the only one of the 148 series monograms I think I'd never built. And I have an F82 of theirs. I don't know if I've built that one or not. But anyway, it's in the stash. But I was going to tell you, 30 kits is actually a pretty good stash given your situation and everything. How long you've been model building, and you've got college and all this other stuff. I had 12 kits in my stash before the channel took off, and people wonderfully graciously started sending me stuff. And my wife told me point blank, you don't buy another bottle until you build those. All right? And I'm like, okay. Now I have over 400. 390 of which, or 370 of which, are the courtesy of the viewers of this channel. People like Mr.
I've sent you some things,
Yeah, that's right.
I sent you that little Oscar Deuce. I think I've sent you a B-29 too, and probably something else I don't remember.
But which reminds me, after we're done here, I have something for you. But
you don't have to, but I greatly appreciate it.
But
something else interesting. So I went uptown to an antique store today, and they've had this item for months, but they claim it's a pre-war Hamilton Standard 12D40 two-bladed prop.
Mm-hmm.
Variable pitch prop. All chrome. It's got the original decals on it. Comes on a little stand. $6,700.
That's about right. I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
I saw it at a plated ejection seat in an art shop in Fort Lauderdale, and it wasn't even like an Aces 2. It was a much earlier one, and I think it was $5,000 10 years ago. Ken, you came and saw that with me, I think.
Yeah, you'd see this prop on front of T6s and Lockheed Model 10s and AT9s, so it's everywhere. But if I had the room and I had the money...
It'd make a nice wall hanger. Ken and I used to overnight in Fort Lauderdale, and they would keep me down on... what's the name of that street where all the rich people hang out, Ken, in Lauderdale? Something...
Oslo?
Huh? Not Oslo, but it's something like that. Anyway, it's a area in Fort Lauderdale. It's a strip of upscale shops and restaurants and everything. A lot of artistic boutiques and stuff, and yogurt.
Yeah, very expensive.
And, my knowledge of Florida extends from is about Disney World, because I've been there, and Plant City, because that's where my grandma was for a while.
I know where Plant City is.
Yeah.
But there was an art shop, and they had a surprising amount of aviation stuff. They had 2 chromed engine lips from a 737-300. There might have been a 200. I think it was a 200.
I remember that shop. Beautifully chromed items.
Oh yeah. They had some big model, professional made model ships like the big travel agency stuff. They had a few RC airplanes, and they had a chromed ejection seat. And I think the ejection seat was $5,000. I think.
They also had some of those big binoculars too on tripods.
Yeah, the big nautical binoculars on tripods, and man, I can't remember the. It bothers me that I can't remember the name of that street, because that's like the happening place down in Lauderdale. You know, they had the Florida restaurants down there, which is great because it was 24 hours, and oh gosh. Well, that's I'm gonna have to look that up after we get off camera. You guys talk. I gotta look that up. It's driving me up a wall.
Ken, when did you ever think we'd be put on stage because you couldn't find a restaurant?
I know what you're talking about. I can't think of the name of the street either.
Where is it?
It's in Lauderdale.
Yeah,
Las Olas?
Las Olas.
that's it.
That's
How
it.
did the guy from New York know that, and you guys did?
Because that's the
That's what I
6th borough. West Palm to Miami is just the 6th borough. And
Yeah, that was an interesting place.
yeah,
Here's a
The
question.
restaurant where all the seats were like.
that's the Florida restaurant. Yes, you just sit down at a big long table with total strangers, and they got the rotating cheesecakes behind you. That wasn't why I took you there. That wasn't why I made you take me there. Wasn't that? That wasn't it.
Is-
And it
is
wasn't a
that why you
3-pound
always sat
omelet,
that
you
side?
know. And you wonder how I got this big.
Is that why you always sat on that side?
It wasn't even that good. It just looked pretty. You know, I kept
Here's
trying.
something.
I kept trying. I did as much research as I could there. I ate as many omelets, as many cheesecakes as I could, and they never really were that great. Somehow that did not stop me. I knew one day they never did. But they were 24 hours, and you work for the airlines. That's important. It's one reason we used to like the old hotel in San Juan. They had a Denny's that was open 24 hours. You'd be like, Denny's, like, dude, when you come knuckle dragging in at 2 a.m. after flown, starting off in New York and ending up down in Puerto Rico after 3 stops, trust me, Denny's is an oasis.
Yeah.
But I don't.
Here's my, I was thinking,
Denny's that serves pina coladas.
They did. They had they had a full bar. It was a Denny's with a full bar. You get a pina colada, beer, whatever. We were usually still in uniform, but
that's crazy.
uh,
Well, I was thinking of stuff to talk about, so I thought I'd ask this question.
go.
Okay, here's the scenario. You can have any airplane you want. It doesn't have to, there don't have to be a remaining example. We'll build you one. Any airplane you want, and you don't have to pay for maintenance or fuel. You have, if it's like an early straight pipe jet, you have to follow noise abatement ordinances, and you have to be able to fly it yourself.
Mhm.
So what airplane are you going to
Pilot
pick?
rated. Probably a Citation SP, because they're just easy to fly. They have an excellent safety record. They're single pilot typed. I'm a jet guy, so I'm going to be more comfortable in a jet. If that's just for going around, tooling around in, like going to see people and stuff. But I would say, if you're going to ask me, and I've flown in one. I have never actually piloted one, but I've flown in them. My student was in the right seat because he was thinking about buying one, and he made the landing. So that's how straightforward they are. But if somebody said you could have an airplane for like taking the air show circuit, I would want either a Stuka, because there are none left. Paul Allen's that collection's trying to put one together, but they're only halfway done. Or a Val dive bomber, or maybe a Sally or a Betty, because there are none left in flying condition. Just because I think they're cool planes for the rarity and that sort of thing. But if you just said an airplane for me, I go with Citation.
Facts.
Personally,
Why don't you get something you could fly? You can't fly a Stuka or a Betty or something like that. You wouldn't want to fly the only remaining version of it in the world.
No, Ken, you wouldn't. I'm Dinky Dow, Gimme, I want to fly. I'd be up there coming down from 20,000 feet with the die brakes on, but,
That's the
screaming
introduction.
bonsai.
It sound like that transition in the Pink Floyd album, The Wall. Everybody's screaming.
Can't teach a major, can't have any pudding.
Yeah, Pink Floyd is my favorite band. So
How does a
I'm very familiar
19-year-old
with The
feel
Wall.
like he belongs in our generation? This is a little weird.
Like a 19-year-old Max.
Hey, you don't have to take that from him.
I don't know if that's a compliment or not.
Neither do I. That's the weird part. I'm pretty sure it's not. How about an S2 tracker? Yes, if I want to go there at 120 miles an hour.
No, that's an interesting point because I thought about this too. My first choice would be an 85 because
That's an
it's
interesting
single
choice.
engine
Yeah.
and you can bring a friend. It's got the
You
same
can.
cockpit.
Mhm.
And the Navy actually had a COD version, carrier onboard delivery, called the
Correct.
UA-1E. So you can put stuff in it.
Here's a little trivia for you. Did you know that the Grumman Avenger after the war was used as a COD plane?
Yep.
And
Yep.
I found some photos of them in these remote airstrips making deliveries. They had
And
guns and everything removed from them.
And so was the ferry Gannet was used as a COD plane.
Yeah. Now that,
Airfix
if
has
you
a-
want to talk about butt ugly airplanes, I think the Gannet is it and the Owl are
Yeah.
not the Owl, that Blumenvoss thing with the lopsided engine.
No, yeah, I know.
143 or 144.
Yeah, something like that. My second choice would be, because there's a bunch of parts and a bunch of airframes available for this right now, would be C2 Greyhound.
Oh yeah. I actually know some people who flew those. They're all of those things are more or less derivative of the old tracker. I mean, they kind of grew out of
Yeah.
that. And by the way, the tracker was designed in World War II, at the end of World War II, and it was designed, I think, as a COD plane first, and then everything else kind of, because Grumman figured out, there's a whole thing on it. Somebody had, I got it.
Well, they had the E1,
Mhm.
they had the
the
C1,
tracer,
and
the tracker.
the tracer, and then they had the E1. When you got to the turbine airplanes, they actually made the E2 first. The Hawkeye came
Yeah.
first, and then in like '69, the Greyhound flew.
I think
Which was
that's because the current COD planes they had, the Pistons, still had a lot of life left in them.
Yeah. So they did it one way, and then they did it reverse, and now they're being replaced by Ospreys. So
I'm not-
Gavin, we know you're into planes. You into cars?
yeah, I love cars. Truth be told, when I don't go for the big power, like 454. I prefer like the grandma stock model, like the straight six Mustang. That's
Okay.
what I prefer. Yeah, something a little different.
Okay.
My favorite
You know
Mustang-
what?
Resin? Do you do any resin kits or things with resin parts?
I have I've got one of the Salvino's NASCAR kits. I've
Oh,
got
that's
all the,
okay.
Your buddy Salvino.
but I've got all the resin parts to make it the Le Mans car that they took 2 years ago.
Mhm.
The Cup car they took to Le Mans.
Mhm.
So I'm going to do that one.
That'd be
And
nice.
yeah,
So, okay, you got that Concord behind you. I want you to
What's your
think.
favorite muscle car?
muscle car. I like the GTO.
Yes.
64 GTO.
Stop talking. You won. The GTO. That's all you had to say. That's my favorite also, 66, 67.
Yeah, I like the 64.
That's a beauty too.
They're just making a kit of that.
Yeah, I
There's a
think
kit of the
Revell-
64 coming out.
Yeah, I think Revell's going to do it again. My favorite pony car is actually the AMX Javelin.
Good choice.
Yeah.
I've seen them. I've never driven one, but apparently the Javelin's a pretty well respected car, from what I
It
can
gave
gather.
Corvette a run for its money for a long time.
But
Yeah,
you didn't have to
yeah.
weight down the front ends. Weren't they a little light in the front end?
Little, but the AMX was basically a two-seater Javelin.
I like this. I like the second gen with the hump, the front wheel humps.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, that's what I prefer. It actually kind of looks like this Jag, in a way. Same sort of
So
philosophy behind it, I guess.
if you were making a commercial, okay, what car would you put to because we're going for cool points here, so we're talking aesthetics, not performance. What car do you think would best go in front of the Concorde?
Oh.
I'm blanking on that one. Let's see.
I'm thinking something from Lamborghini.
I'm thinking of Countach.
Yeah.
Countach.
Okay.
Countach or Diablo, maybe a Mura.
The car that looks the
Countach.
most like it would be like the 260 or the 280 Datsun, because it's got that sort of mini Jag look to it. But I think a Lambo would go better.
I think the Opel GT actually would look good in front of it.
That's an interesting choice.
No,
Too low end.
too low end.
I would say Corvette, but the airplane's too British. The car's too American.
What about
Yeah.
an Aston Martin? Or
I was thinking an
Jaguar?
Austin Healey.
Oh yeah.
A Jag
Yeah.
XJ220.
I thought about Jag, and that is kind of what it begs for. So, what would you put for a commercial for cool? What would you put in front of a 747? I'm thinking something big, American,
Let's
and
see.
muscly.
Let's see. 747 went into service, what, 70?
I'm thinking a Mach 1 Mustang or
A Pacer.
Oh, God! Silence.
Well, I mean, if you think about, it went into service with Pan Am, you could do a Shelby Mustang because they have the same color scheme.
Oh, there, I see there. Now you took him with gas. And we could do the Russian Tu-144 with a Lada in front of it.
A Trabant.
Yeah.
A Trabant. A Trebi.
Yeah. I've said in the past that Concorde is my favorite airliner, but it's not really an airliner.
It's a fashion
For-
statement.
Exactly. For the British and the French, Concorde was their Apollo.
You see, I've said
And
that
that's-
was their space program.
And then you could prove that fact because the Russians had to have a worse copy of it.
Which flew actually before the Concorde did.
And ended up,
Uh-huh.
and ended up carrying mail because it was too loud.
Yeah.
You know what would go good in front of the Concorde? A DeLorean.
Yeah. Yeah, the DeLorean looks pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And then we have a
Because
winner with
Concorde-
that one.
Concorde was definitely a 1980s airplane in the 1960s.
Well, the
I agree
Russians,
with that.
and they didn't, contrary to what people think. I mean, yes, the Russians did do a lot of espionage on the Concorde. The whole rubber-soled, sponge-soled shoes, walking to the factory to pick up metal fragments, all that stuff's been documented. Yes, UX9000, yeah, from RoboCop. Yeah. But the Russians looked at the Concorde, and I was asking you earlier about it. I was walking around, I did a walk around for a while on the one that's on the Intrepid in New York. And the nice thing is you can walk right up and touch it. It's not behind a fence or anything. And the Concorde has no flat spots on anywhere except a vertical stab. It's a constantly changing chord and everything. It is an extremely complex wing. And it had to be. And I mean, it's more complex than most fighters. And some of that tech made its way into the later Dassault Falcons, which is why you taxi behind a Falcon, you see this very complex sweeping wing and everything. I'm talking the late models. But anyway, the Corp jets, but the 2000, which is basically a Falcon 50 with two big engines instead of three little ones. But I digress, sorry. But the Russians were like, we can't do this. And they were like, how long would it take? No, you don't understand. 40 VW in front of the ME-262. Yeah. You don't understand. No, the Opel belongs in front of the ME-262. You don't understand. The Russians are like, we don't know how they did this. We can't do this. So if you look at Tu-144, it has a very slab wing by comparison.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of people point at it and say, espionage, the same way they do with Buran and the shuttle.
Yeah.
It's not really espionage. It's just parallel development leads to the same
Exactly.
conclusions.
One of the NASA engineers said, first off, the Russians, we would have sent them the whole plans of the shuttle. There was nothing secret about it. It was a civilian project. And he goes, besides which, believe it or not, Buran, although smaller than the shuttle, actually carried more because they didn't have any onboard engines.
Yep.
All the booster engines to get it into orbit were on the tank.
Yeah,
those
so
engines it
yeah.
had were for maneuvering.
Yeah.
So it had actually
well,
Moran was a superior design in a lot of ways. It's kind of Shuttle 2.0. And
It was technology. It was a little bit superior, but I mean, the shuttle is superior by the fact that it flew 133 successful missions.
and 2 not so successful.
Here's a bit of trivia for you on
Oh.
the shuttle that I learned from some people who actually worked on the thing,
Mm-hmm.
on the computers. That, you know, the 5 computers that they had on board,
Yeah.
and then they would vote, and if one up didn't agree with the others, they would stop listening
Yeah, they
to it.
abort. Yeah.
Yeah, well, those computers are the same ones that they used in the F-15s.
Why reinvent the wheel? You
They
know?
were already certified, and a PC was far more powerful than those computers.
Mhm.
And they flew those same computers on every mission.
Well, that's because people don't understand they go, why not put in more modern computers? You look at how complex something like the shuttle's supposedly the most complex machine ever made. Which,
Yeah, you would
having
say.
seen one up close with the skin removed, I'm like, holy crap, you're not kidding, okay? But every minor change has huge ramifications throughout the whole system.
Yep.
To place the computers in there means that everything that works, everything's got to be changed with them. You might, it's just easy to build a new shuttle, which they were planning to do. But finally,
Well, I mean, Atlantis was built out of spares.
yeah, I used to be furious at the president. We don't get into politics here. We don't mention names. But the president that canceled the shuttle, at first I was really, what do you think you're doing? But then I realized, that's probably the biggest favor he could have done NASA, because that thing was sucking up all the money. Just running the shuttle sucked up all the money for a better replacement. And now, of course, we know where we're at now.
Like anything else, shuttle flew in '81 into 2011. I mean, flying anything 40 years old is very expensive.
Yeah.
But I want to make this point. That orbiter right there, Challenger, had it not had an accident in '86, it would be in the Udvar-Hazy rather than Columbia.
Sure.
Because that orbiter did more first than any single one in the fleet, and had it not, had an accident,
The shuttles,
it would be the top dog.
The shuttles were not lost due to design defect or a problem with the shuttle. They were lost due to bad decision making by
100%.
And everybody knew about the burn throughs, and we knew about all the other stuff. So, then that's just the way it goes. What can I tell you? Going into space is a dangerous endeavor.
It's like when you have a debate about nuclear power. Chernobyl was all human error.
Absolutely, yeah.
Now, let's be fair. It was human error stretching back 12 years before Reactor 4 exploded.
Right.
But it's still human error. 3 Mile Island. Okay, the cancer rates because of 3 Mile Island are less than zero. They're actually
there's all these myths about
the human error in 3 Mile Island is because of the news media, but it's still human error. So the shuttle was killed because 14 astronauts died because of human error.
Yes.
And
same thing with Apollo 1.
250,000 Ukrainian and Russian civilians and military personnel died because of human error. All these things that we point at, and sometimes technologically we point and say boo. The problem is human beings.
We need to get rid of humans.
That would make the world. Well, there was an episode of the X-Files where Mulder had a genie, and he goes, he wanted peace on Earth, so she made all the people disappear. And he goes, you totally perverted the meaning. She goes, what? You think I'm supposed to end every single squabble and argument amongst 8 billion people, all in the name of Fox Mulder? You want peace on Earth? I get rid of all the people.
Much easier.
But, well, guys, it's 9 o'clock. That shot by. Gavin, I want to thank you. That was just really, really good. Christ, you're more interesting than the three of us put together.
Not hard to do.
Yeah, really, it's not. That is kind of low-hanging fruit, but still.
We're all very boring people.
Middle-aged men. But I am very, very, very impressed.
Middle
by the
aged?
knowledge.
What are you going to live to 126?
Everyone's got to have a goal. Christ, I'll be happy to make it till next Friday when I'm not going to Ken's.
Well, if you don't, every Burger King in America will be at half
I'm
mast.
half mast. First off, it's Wendy's, okay, and Whataburger.
Okay.
I haven't been to a BK Lounge in years. But and Mackie D's, yeah, you didn't have to be on a diet. Besides, I just got my first shipment of Zepbound. I think my day of cheeseburgers is over. VW bus, human error. Yeah, yeah, you hear that? Anyway, so guys, we're gonna say goodnight to everybody. I'm gonna leave you guys up on the Zoom for a minute so we can have a post-show critique where we can say all the things we don't dare say with the algorithm watching.
Be careful of the AI.
Because it remembers. Good God, that's a little creepy.
Yeah, in insane detail.
Well, guys, that's it for this evening. I hope you had a little bit of fun. I want to thank our friend Gavinn Swann, the Scale Model Apprentice. If you haven't, go out, sub to his channel. He puts out a lot of great stuff. Eric, you're on deck for next week, probably. I'll email you about that later. And that's celebrating vintage model kits. And I'm also probably going to have Mystic Modelership's Bruce in. And at some point, if you guys want, we may just crowd the screen with all of us one day and just see what a disaster.
Get Mike Machat in here, and we're done for.
Oh, yeah. Everybody shouting everybody down. It'll be a rumble.
Then the rest of us won't have to talk for 2 hours.
Am I physically capable of that? All right. Well, Steve, Ken, you guys want to say your nighty nights?
Nighty night, Ken.
Night, John Boy.
Steve.
Take care, guys. Thanks for coming in another Saturday of fun and frivolity with a good guest here. We hope to see you back next week.
Thanks for coming, guys. We really appreciate it. Thank you very much, Gavin, for joining us. It's been great. I hope you come back again.
I hope so too.
Oh, and guys, have a good time trick-or-treating this weekend.
I'm gonna be on an airplane. I don't get to trick or treat this year.
Oh yeah, you get all the tricks on the plane.
That didn't sound right.
Oh yeah, that's a Steveism.
You worry me sometimes, Steve. You really do. Okay, Gavin, if you want to say goodnight to everybody, we'll sign off.
Folks, thanks for coming out. We appreciate you. I appreciate chatting with you in the comments when I do this normally. And I just want to thank Max for allowing me to come on and jib-jab with y'all. And if you want to, go look at the channel. Check out the playlist put together. Look at the Felix stove, because that's still an awesome build, even though it's, 5 years old. Won't be a lot of content for the next couple months, but go look at the old stuff. Yeah, thanks for watching. Have a great evening, and come back next week.
Guys, take care of yourselves, as always. Model on.